Hello, Connected. Have the getting into the Vortex cards. My life is about my relationships. This is what just fell out. Let me read it. You will never find yourself in a point in time when the subject of relationships is not an active part of your now experience. For everything you perceive or notice or know is because of your relationship with something else. Without a comparative experience, you would be unable to perceive or focus any kind of understanding within yourself. Therefore, it is accurate to say that without relationships, you could not exist at all. So, in a way, it's kind of talking about, I want to say what Abraham calls adversity. It's basically like when you experience something that you don't like. If you didn't experience something that you didn't like, then you wouldn't know what you did like, because there would be no difference in anything. It just would be an experience of, everything would be the same. So, yeah, basically what it's saying is, by putting other people, by basically the universe or the law of attraction, if you want to call it, by putting people, certain types of relationships specifically into your experience, it kind of helps you to do a lot of things, actually. Not just experience what you do and don't like, so you know what you do and don't like in relationships, but it basically kind of helps you form your opinions about, the roles in those relationships, the archetypes that you're experiencing, the dynamics of the difference between a mother and a child, or a brother and a sister, or, then when you get a little bit older, you recognize the differences in a romantic relationship, as opposed to, like, say, family or whatever. And, in some cases, you might even notice the similarities. And there wouldn't be, you wouldn't even have any of that knowledge at all, or that reference, if you didn't have every single one of those relationships to pull from. So, this card is also talking about, not just comparative experience, but, how it first said, you will never find yourself in a point in time when the subject of relationships is not an active part of your now experience. For everything you perceive or notice or know is because of your relationship with something else. I mean, I've said this before too, about how everything is a relationship. Your relationship with your dog, your relationship with money. Some people, we didn't really talk about this, but some people, they think in their heads that, money is really hard to come by. And then someone else might say, well, oh yeah, every time I get it, I lose it. And it's like, even if to those two people, it's not the same thing. I mean, if somebody says it's hard to come by, they might feel like, well, you can't get it at all. Whereas the other person is saying, well, yeah, I get it, but I can't hang on to it. It's still the same perception. As far as they're concerned, it's lack. So we can't get money, or we can't hang on to money. If we do get money, we can't hang on to it. So it's our relationship with money is flawed. So then when we try to go get money, we're already thinking in our heads that this isn't going to happen. And if it does happen, I'm not going to be able to keep it. So it's not just your relationship with people. It's your relationship with all things. It's really important because it affects your experience. It affects your now experience. So the next time you relate to something in a way that you don't want to relate to it, let's say your car. Let's say your car isn't extremely reliable, so kind of every time before you get into it, you're kind of like, oh my God, I really hate this car. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Because the energy you're putting out there is the energy you're going to get back. This car is going to become less reliable. I don't care if it's an inanimate object. That's going to bounce back and hit you. So think about your relationship with all things, and maybe what's happening that you don't like, and perhaps what you're doing to help co-create that. And then try to turn that around. Till we meet again.